And welcome back to Napoleon Total War with a pike and shot mod. We've finally come around to actually be playing a campaign in this, and normally we would be voting on which faction to play as. However, by the recommendation of the mod creator, we're gonna play a semi-historical campaign with a Habsburg monarchy, the Austrians. We're going to be playing on the highest campaign difficulty and highest battle difficulty. I'm going to leave on drop in battles, but it's very unlikely that we'll actually see one of those in this. Let's go into that further as we start the campaign. So let's, with all of that said, let's jump straight into it, shall we? One thing to be said here, which was mentioned by the mod creator, is the year. So it's something, I guess, deeply ingrained in how Napoleon works, that if you change around, or basically the problem is said about changing the time, or you can see it says January 1818. If you set it below, I can't remember what year it was, all the factions become very passive and it doesn't really work. So that's why the year is never really gonna be set correctly, but it's supposed to be 1618 that we start with. And I just moved Johannes Kepler as the gentleman into our school, and I've already checked all of these out to make it easier. So we're gonna do pamphlets because it makes happiness for all classes. 5 for the lower and 3 for all. So that would be actually 8 for the lower classes and 3 for the upper classes, or 8 for the lower classes and 3 for the upper. And then also historical, actually research rate is increased by 1%, which isn't a lot, but still something. So that's the one I've checked out. We're gonna move Adolf towards Vienna. Actually, moving Adolf towards Vienna sounds really bad, doesn't it? We're also going to start moving our armies. One thing about moving the armies around in this mod is that the armies require supplies in a different way. Basically, if the armies keep marching out in the field without moving into towns ever so often, your generals will receive traits that they are lacking in supply, and that will increase their attrition rate in snow. Or there is no desert, so you can't get attrition from that. But if we are marching through snow, the attrition rate will be higher, quite a lot higher, I think, like 30%. Also, the campaign movement range will be lowered, and we'll definitely see that with the Wallenstein army. I'm not entirely fully understand why Wallenstein start all the way out here in Hungary, but for those who are more well versed in 1618 and what the I was about to say Austro-Hungarians, but the Austrians were up to, then you might be more familiar with the history on why he's out here with 2 pike units. So we will be moving now because there's some rumors, might be some defenestration in Prague. We can see the populace is a bit unhappy. So we'll be moving our armies north to deal with this. So there's going to be a scripted event. They're going to throw some people out the window, and we're going to have to fight the Bohemians. And that is going to be a while, but before then, I'm going to build some stuff. One thing that I noticed that I'm not entirely sure how it's supposed to be... should I need cannons up here, or should I go for a governor's mansion? I guess I could haul the cannons over... The thing is, because I have to haul the cannons over here, and obviously there could be some problems as we got Swedish Pomerania and stuff like that. Protestants up north. It would be nice to control that, but if I control this and I've control... You know what? We'll go for Governor's Mansion. Also, I built a gold mine, if you didn't see that. Also, we need roads everywhere. We're gonna have a difficult time enough as it is marching around. Gonna be building roads. We're gonna be building a lot of gold mines, actually. A lot of mines in general. The think one thing that I was starting up talking about something, and then I got sidetracked. But what I wanted to talk about is I don't know how this is supposed to be balanced, because look at the total growth per turn, 267. Currently, in my French campaign in Empire, with France almost fully set up, like, well, France is a single province in Empire, but it's fully set up. I have a growth of like 60. This is 267 wealth gained per turn. I don't know how that's going to be. It might be that wealth is tremendously reduced once you once the place is taken over, once it's looted. We're going to build a market here. Also, I kind of see here, kind of interesting, there's a lot of different changes in terms of building. So in the farmland here, we actually got two types of farms we can go down. We can go tenant farm, clearance great estate, or we can go cleared field, community fields, and crop rotation field. Now the thing is, I kind of get the point here, like if we would want sort of the great estate, where we sort of have everything combined under a nobleman, which would, you could have kind of set it so it, you know, the lower classes are unhappy with that. And it might it might not be generating as much, or it might generate more wealth for you, but the growth of the population might be less or something like that. Compared to this, which is community fields and stuff that would bring happiness, bring more food, but less wealth overall. But the thing is, great estates and crop rotation is basically the same, except for the fact that crop rotation has a higher population growth. Otherwise, they're the same. I wonder if it could be that it's set like maybe because I've been looking at some of the other building structures, and I wonder if it's set like you're not supposed to finish the lines necessarily. Like you could stop here to get the building you want, because they don't seem to be. Some buildings don't seem to be adding on to each other. Certain ones, like Royal Palace or whatever, Engineer School and stuff like that. But certain ones, it seems like maybe you stop here. I'm not entirely sure. Also, there's like City Well, Nursing Home, Catholic Chapel. I haven't really gone through, taken a look at everything, but we have spent most of the cash, actually all of my cash. We're not making any money either, and I'm concerned with spying in Majestic. He's not that good of a king, is he? He's got 2 stars. We're gonna go through and change these guys out. I think, yeah, this guy's upright, so we're gonna put him there. Tactician, otherwise none of them is particularly interesting. And I don't want anyone. This actually is good for justice, but otherwise I think we don't really want anyone that lowers. Oh, this one gained. Just what I didn't want, status quo. I didn't want unhappiness with the lower classes, because we're gonna have problem with the lower classes as it is. With that ministry change, I was able to save a little bit of money, but the big change is going to be coming through trade. So in terms of, we're not going to trade with the Ottoman Empire, or not just yet anyways. We might go ahead and trade with them. So we're going to start with all the ones which we have land routes to. I'm going to set up trade with them. Then, after that's done, we'll take a look at who we're going to set up our naval trade with. So we'll look at attitude, but also the size of the country. So I would like very much to be trading with large countries, because you could make more money that way. Like trading with England is a fairly large country. We can't reach the Russians, Actually, I should actually test that out. That is how it works in Empire anyways. Bigger countries, you gain more for. And it seems like it. Polish-Lithuanian, you gain a lot. And for Spain, with the Iberian Union, you get a lot. And then you get lower amount. But it's not actually that big of a difference. But say England would be a preferred trade partner. Because it's a large country. And then it would also be nice to trade with other people that are friendly with you. So, Duchy of Savoy is one that comes to mind. And I think we're at full capacity. The only thing we have is we can trade with the Ottomans. But, I mean, they're basically our arch rival. We currently have an army within their territory, so that does not seem like a great idea. So we've turned it around. We were a minus 1,000. Now we're at 816. That's still very low. However, as I mentioned earlier, we have a wealth gain of 267. That's gonna be... that's kind of insane. And with... like, here we have 100... but with the gold mines increase it 10 per turn, and this mine's going to increase it 10 by turn, and there's lots of stuff that's going to increase the wealth. So we'll be looking at massive wealth gains all over the place. Like, even at the most shittiest of my areas, we gain 56, 54 per turn. And as I said, in my Empire campaign, where I've almost maxed out France with all its port and stuff, I'm gaining like 60 wealth per turn. So 260 is insane. So, you know, after 10 turns of that, we've increased the wealth of the town by 2,600. That's a lot, given that the tax rate then on that is 30%. So that's going to be, like, it's going to be actually noticeable in a completely different way than what it is in when it's lower wealth gained. With that said, it's going to take quite a while for me to march up to fight the Bohemians, the bloody Protestants. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a speed cut to that point. Here's an important side note on the second turn. We can see army on the march, so they are gaining these trades, which increase movement range and morale for a little bit. But as long, the longer they're out marching, sooner or later there's going to be supply shortages, and we're going to see a drop in the movement range. I'm going to try as much as possible for Tilly, for Charles, and Gottfried, or Pappenheim. We're going to try as much as possible to have them... I wonder if it's they have to stay one turn within the area, or if it works like this. I could go like this. It seems to be slightly increasing it, or it could just be that we get more movement range because moving around the town is harder than moving through it. I'm not entirely sure if that helped, if we actually gained any supply from that, if we reset. Hopefully it does, but we'll see. We are closing in on Bohemia. Open rebellion in Bohemia. We can see the fenestration taking part right here. 3 fellows being thrown straight at the window. Seems to be a pretty Praguian, Bohemian tradition. Right. Oh, here we can see also the supply shortages. Supply shortages. Actually, it's increased attrition area, but also movement range is increased. I think this is wrong. There's not... Supply shortages does not increase the movement range. I think it might be that, you know, might be a small bug. We're gonna go ahead and infiltrate the rebels, see what they've got. 2 cannons. Lots of light pikemen, and then German mercenary cavalry. Right. Hopefully, though, there will be no match for my Valorant arms, as we will be marching directly to meet them. I should have gone through the town. The town? Town? It's my bloody capital. You also seem to be receiving supplies if you stand still for a turn. Or so you get those spikes around, like you dug in. That seems to be gaining supplies, as we can saw. It said Wallenstein is army on the march again. He was about to reduce his movement speed, but it's back up again, which is good. There we go! Now we got critical levels of provision. Minus 20 campaign movement range. Plus 20 losses in it. For attrition and minus morale, and that is for everyone except for Wallenstein, which has just decreased a little bit because he's got supply shortages. So at this point my armies need to rest up in, I think it works in the smaller towns and it also works in the main towns. So that is kind of what we have to do right now. And that means that I will not be able to stop the Bohemians or the Czech rebels from taking control of Prague. We got a diplomatic offer from the Ottoman Empire, trade agreement, and they're willing to offer me 850 gold. Given that you know, earlier we made about 800 per turn, that's kind of a lot of money. And we are in fact going to accept it, even though they are our enemies. Pamphlets! Wonderful! Everyone should be happy. Everyone, that is, except the Bohemians. I am completely blindsided by yet another defenestration. In this case, it's the Moravian territory, which has rebelled against me. And with the loss of all these territories, I can no longer trade. Trade routes are cut to the north. So we can no longer trade with Saxony, nor the Polish-Lithuanians, nor the Prussians, or Brandenburg, Prussia. Critical levels of provision is just about to reach the capital, though. Construction, we've constructed a chapel in Vienna, farmlands in Austria and Croatia, market in Croatia, and then lots of mines. Mines in Silesia and mines in the Tyrol region. Very good. Currently we're making about 2,000 per turn, so that wealth gain has done a lot for us. Also, with me now building this Catholic chapel, it increases 3% tax rate in all regions. So it increases the tax rate by 3% in all of our regions, which is quite nice. This, however, it's not very nice. So we got 4 units set up. Our general over here, I kind of feel as though I needed more troops to deal with that revolt. Thing is, though, they might start recruiting troops. Recruiting troops actually takes quite a while. But I would be more comfortable attacking them if I had a stronger cavalry unit. So we're gonna send the Lancer cavalry. The heavy Lancer cavalry will be sent over to join in with this army. And then we'll go ahead and retake this province from the bastard rebels. And once that is all that is done, I'm hoping that I will be able to combine our troops and see if we can't retake Bohemia. We have a mission issued. Conquer Prague. From that we'll gain 2,000 gold and we will be granted 2 units. Very good. And we're also got another mission issued. Capture the city of Stuttgart. 1,000 and we gain a cannon. Currently we're at peace with these fellows. I imagine, though, this is going to be start of a bigger war, where we're going to be ending up a war with these factions rather soon as part of the setup. Now they're out of supply. Ooh. Misfire chance is increased. Pappenheim is receiving supplies. The other two are not. Tilly is not gaining. And he's right here. So he's not gaining from being in this town. But this guy was gaining. No, he was out of supplies as well. So he's not gaining. But he's in the enemy territory. So that makes sense. We got some extra troops being sent in. I guess we're going to move over Tilly then to join him at the market over here, the market town. Then we got the Lancer cavalry coming in, and they'll be ready to attack. We're going to move these guys up, and then you're going to sit in town to receive extra supplies. And with that, it's time to strike, and I'm just out of reach. We're out of supplies, which is not great. Hopefully, though, that will all change as we hope for a swift victory in Moravia. I'm about to attack, but then I'm reached by a message here. Duchy of Württemberg have... Oh, the beginning of the 30 Years' War. That's why trade is broken off. So you can stop and read this if you want. That's not great. Wallenstein just made it to Vienna, though. And then we got towns, and we got another port, which is great. He's gonna be resupplying here. And I'm hoping these guys will be resupplying in this little town. And with the new port, I should be able to trade with new nations. And I see here, because we've lost so many trade routes in towards Europe, or the center of Europe, we got a lot of trade options here. I'm gonna try the Kingdom of France, just because it's such a huge kingdom. Rarely insulted. Okay, so they will not. I would have liked that, because I would have made more money trading with a bigger nation. First and foremost, we look at where these nations are located. So we want to be trading with stuff, like trading with these guys up here. That means that a trade route has to go all the way around here, open to attack. So we want to trade with stuff like Genoa, which is apparently stuck on Corsica. So we trade with them. Or we try to set up with these kinds of factions first. Actually, I think we probably got room to trade with a lot of these. All of them. So even if far away, even if some of these are far away, we can still do quite a bit of trade. Good. That stabilizes the situation. And it's not such a big of a loss. I have continuously been trading out my ministers, hoping to gain trains, and as we can see, we start off with 3 on everything. Currently I've got 4 on Navy, 4 on Army, 4 on Justice, and 5 on Treasury. So we're doing great in that. I've been able to trade those out. With that said, though, it's time to strike here and strike the rebels. Strike them fast and strike them hard. Our force, our initial force, is 464 men. We're gonna be bringing in an extra 360 men against the enemy's 700. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing to really be said here. I think my cannons will do a lot good work here, plus the heavy cavalry will send any of these rebels packing if they dare stand up to the Emperor. The enemy has situated themselves down in this valley to make it hard for my artillery to hit them. Unfortunately, they are not, unfortunately for them, they are not actually moving to contest this high ground. So we are able to gain control of that and we'll be able to fire down upon them. A big problem here though is there's rain, which makes misfires a certainty. So we're already plus then the 10% misfire chance that we gained from being out of supply. So we got god-awful shit supply. But even with the worst, I mean, I guess our guys are really hungry, but they'll have to fight through the hunger. They can eat the enemy's horses once they kill those. So we got the sword infantry to support the two formations of arquebusiers. So we got kind of normal Austrian, kind of a standard troop, but then we also have these Croatians, which I'm sure has got increased, not only increased range, I got the same range, but I'm sure they're more accurate. They got a 30% accuracy compared to 20 for the normal unit. And if I could just get my artillery in range, we can start bombarding the enemy. As we're starting to set up the artillery, our enemy is moving to meet us. The important thing is to break down their cavalry. First volley by the 1st Regiment of Foot has taken out quite a few enemy arquebusiers as they march into range. Surprised that we actually get as high casualties as we do by this. Also, I note there it's just the 2 first lines that are firing. However, making the lines shorter might risk the cohesion of the unit. A little bit worried about this cavalry coming straight at us. I'm hoping the Croatians will do something about that. Okay, the Lancers need to turn and fire on that. And the cannon will instead be firing canister on the approaching enemy, which killed a few. I will deploy the general to the side. He's got pistols, so we will be able to have him fire pistols towards the approaching regiment. Which, in previous battles, have been quite effective. They're just kind of out of range. The enemy general has been killed. We might instead fire a round shot on them. The Croatians will switch target. And the Lancers are getting the enemy over there. You know what? General, back off a bit. And actually hold your fire. Let's send in the sword infantry to finish them off. And the sword infantry is now coming down the hill. We managed to lose 25 men in the process. No, that's the second unit. We've lost 5 men. 9 men. 11 men. And then on the second unit, They managed to stand surprisingly well. I'm gonna bring the general up in the side. We're gonna recall the lancers. Oh, they broke now. They are broken. Let's see if the general wants to fire a pistol on them. Before I order the... actually, I should order the swordmen to make chase already. We got a few. Well, there we have it. The first battle has been won.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
The enemy army was vanquished quite well, I must say. We lost 35 men compared to the enemy, which lost everything. Highest kills goes to the general, actually. Well, he chased down quite a few of them there at the end. Next up is the Croatian regiment, followed by the 2nd Musket Regiment. The Lancers, the Sword Fighters, and the Artillery. But I think with that said, that I think that's enough for the first episode. So with that said, for the next one we'll be preparing to attack the Bohemians. Hopefully, before they start recruiting a load of troops. But, yeah, with that said, I will say as I always say, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!